Hi students, welcome to SPSVERSITY. Today we are going to discuss about reproduction in organisms. In organisms, the reproduction is an important aspect. So why reproduction is needed? If you take any organism, that is from birth to death, there is a period. This period is called lifespan. So every organism will have a lifespan. So this lifespan doesn't correlate with the size of organisms, whatever it is the size of organisms. Like, for example, if you take parrot, its lifespan is 140 years. At the same time, if you take elephant, its lifespan is 60 years. So here, it doesn't matter with the size of organisms. Okay. So no organism on the earth is immortal except unicellular organisms, where there is no natural death is found, like amoeba, where there is no natural death. The single cell will divide and form again two cells. So that is, if you take a lifespan of an organism, it starts with birth, growth, and next it is the process, the final senescence phase, it is death. So every organism has a lifespan. After lifespan, it dies, so that it carries out reproduction during its lifespan. So reproduction is a process by which every organism ensures its continuity. So that is, the continuity of the species is carried out for the next generation. So it is the process by which organism produces its similar young ones, so which will mature to give rise to young ones. So reproduction enables the continuity of species from one generation to next generation. So the purpose of reproduction is to ensure that the continuity of species for next generations. So on what factors it will depend, reproduction? So it depends on habitat, internal physiology, and other factors of an organism. So reproduction depends on habitat, internal physiology, and other factors of an organism. So there are basically two types of reproduction. So one is asexual reproduction, and the next one is sexual reproduction. So asexual reproduction, where only one parent is involved without the formation of gametes. So without the formation of gametes, only one parent is involved. In sexual reproduction, two parents are involved by fusion of male and female gametes, that is by fertilization. So basically there are two types of reproduction. So asexual reproduction and sexual reproduction. We'll deal with asexual reproduction. In this, only single parent is involved. And the offsprings which are produced are called clones. So clones means they are identical to parents morphologically and genetically. So they are identical to parents morphologically and genetically. And it is commonly seen in unicellular organisms, so which belong to kingdom of Protista and Murella. So here the cell division itself is a mode of reproduction. Here basically when you take the cell division itself is a mode of reproduction. We look into the examples one by one. What are the different means of asexual reproduction in different organisms? Like if you take binary fission. So in this process, the unicellular organisms like amoeba, paramecium, it divides into half, and each half develops into an adult. So here there is an amoeba, so which is unicellular organism with single nucleus. So initially the nucleus will divide, later on cytoplasm will divide. And it will form two daughter cells. It will form two daughter cells. Okay. So binary fission is one method of asexual reproduction in amoeba, paramecium, iglinum. So next type of reproduction, asexual reproduction, is budding. So in this process, an unequal bud is formed from the parent cell, and later on it gets detached. So you can see the best example, that is yeast, which is a unicellular fungi. So yeast comes under the kingdom fungi, which is unicellular, which has only one cell. So this yeast, during budding, it will form one small bud. Later on, it matures and detaches from the parent cell, which develops into an end bud. So the example for budding is yeast. Likewise, many organisms will reproduce by budding. For example, if we take Chlamydomonas. Okay. So this is the example of, that is algae, green algae Chlamydomonas. So this Chlamydomonas will reproduce by formation of zoospores. These are zoospores which has two flagellae. So they can move on their own. They are motile. Motile means they can move. So this is Penicillium, which will reproduce by conidium. So each spherical shaped structure is one conidium. So which will reproduce by conidia, that is Penicillium, which is a fungi. Hydra, which belong to Coelenterata, so which reproduce by budding. So Hydra will reproduce by bud. A lateral bud is formed on the lateral sides, and later on the tentacles are formed and gradually they get detached from the body. And next, that is gemmules, that is sponges will reproduce by the asexual means, that is gemmules. So in Hydra by budding, in Chlamydomonas by zoospores, in Penicillium by conidium. So like this, each and every organism has its way of asexual reproduction. When it comes to plants, in plants the mode of asexual reproduction is called vegetative reproduction. So it is a type of asexual mode of reproduction. So in vegetative reproduction, there are many vegetative propagals like a runner, sucker, tuber, offset, bulb are capable of giving rise to offsprings are called vegetative propagals. These are called vegetative propagals. So in vegetative reproduction, so root, stem, leaf of plant are involved. So the vegetative structures of plant are involved and will form offsprings, which will give rise to offsprings. So in vegetative reproduction, in plants also, depending upon the species, there are different modes of reproduction. Like if you see an example like grass, the vegetative propagal is runner. Like if you look into ginger, the vegetative reproduction by with the help of stem, underground stem, that is rhizome. So you can see in the diagram this is rhizome, which is an underground stem which grows horizontal. Mint and chrysanthemum will reproduce by suckers. Tubers, that is potato, stem tuber. So potato will reproduce by stem tuber. So on stem tuber there are eyes, which consists of a skinny leaf and axillary pipe, through which it will show reproduction. And next, bulbil. In agave, the method of asexual reproduction is bulbil. In water, hyacinth, that is, it is by offsets. So this is leaf buds which are present on bryophyllum. Bryophyllum will reproduce by leaf buds. And water hyacinth will reproduce by offsets. So this is offset by which water hyacinth will reproduce. So water hyacinth is an hydrophyte which grows in water. So it will reproduce very fastly by this offset mode of reproduction. So you can see these are different vegetative leaf buds in bryophyllum, bulbil in agave, offset of water hyacinth. So which are different vegetative properties. Like you can see murray tree, root buds. This is ginger, by which you can see. This is colocasia by comb. Okay. Next, stem tuber, that is Solanum tuberosum. Bulb in Allium cepa, onion. Naked bulb, lilium. Like this, you can see these are different modes of asexual reproduction in, that is, vegetative reproduction in plants. In plants, depending upon the species, there are different modes of asexual reproduction. And there is an interesting aspect about water hyacinth. Okay. So this water hyacinth is not origin of India. It is introduced into India because of its beautiful flowers and shape of leaves. Okay. So it will propagate vegetatively very fast by using offsets, and it will spread the entire water body within a short period of time. Okay. So as it spreads very fastly in the entire water body, what will happen is, whatever the oxygen present in the water body, it is used by these offsets. That is, the dissolved oxygen which is present in water, it is used by this water hyacinth. So that what happens is that it faces the deficit of dissolved oxygen. So as it faces deficit of dissolved oxygen, The organisms which live in the water, that is fishes, the aquatic organisms, fishes will face water deficiency. So it leads to death of aquatic organisms. That's why water hyacinth is called commonly terror of Bengal. So which will reproduce by offsets. So which will reproduce by offsets. Okay. This is one method of reproduction. And generally asexual reproduction takes place during favorable conditions. But in some organisms like amoeba, during unfavorable conditions it reproduces by formation of, that is, the spores, by formation of pseudopodia. Surrounding to pseudopodia, 3-layered hard cyst is secreted, and this formation of cyst is called encystation. It is called pseudopodiospores. At the same time, in some organisms, what happens is a method of reproduction takes place, that is fragmentation, where the filament is broken down into fragments and each fragment will develop into adult. So producing offspring, that is hydra. Like in hydra we can see, and next, that is, these are the organisms which we can see like hydra, Spirogera, which is a green algae where we can see fragmentation. So this is another method of asexual reproduction. Okay. So in amoeba, during unfavorable conditions, what happens is it forms pseudopodiospores. Okay. So when favorable conditions comes, so amoeba divides by multiple fission and produces many pseudopodiospores. That is, each one is one pseudopodiospores. By multiple fission it will form. And when favorable conditions comes, they return back and again they develop into amoebae. This process of asexual reproduction is called sporulation. Okay. Till now we discussed about asexual reproduction and different methods of asexual reproduction in plants as well as in animals, in algae, fungi, in different methods we have discussed. Follow us SPSVERSITY on social media. Okay. So till now we discussed about asexual reproduction, and now we are going to discuss about sexual reproduction. So this sexual reproduction involves two parents, one is male and another one is female. Where one parent is taken as male and another one is female, which will form respectively male and female gametes. So these gametes will fuse and form zygote. So here, whatever the offsprings are formed during the sexual reproduction, they are not identical to parents. So this sexual reproduction gives rise to diversity among living organisms. Okay. So why organisms has shifted to this asexual reproduction, from asexual to sexual reproduction? In asexual reproduction, their offsprings are similar, which are called clones, but in sexual it is not like. As there are no variations in asexual reproduction, and the chances of survival are less in the offsprings formed by asexual reproduction, it has shifted to sexual. Okay. So all organisms which has to lead life, they has to pass through 3 stages. That is, the initial stage is called juvenile phase or vegetative phase. This is period of growth and which is non-reproductive. So in reproductive phase, it is marked by formation, that is reproduction. Like in plants, it is marked by formation of flowers. Okay. So in plants, when you come, it will by formation of flowers, it shows it is in reproduction phase. So here, when it comes to reproduction in plants, Some plants will reproduce seasonally, some plants regularly, and some plants will reproduce, that is like Strobilanthus kunthiana. So this Strobilanthus kunthiana will reproduce once in 12 years, which is found in Western Ghats. Bamboo will reproduce once in lifetime. Okay. And when it comes to animals, okay, so the females of placental mammals exhibit cyclic changes in ovaries and accessory ducts as there are hormonal changes. And in non-primate mammals, like rat, sheep, dog, cows, it is called osteous cycle. Whereas in primates like monkeys, humans, and it is called menstrual cycle. Okay. So in animals also there is a breeders, like continuous breeders, where they reproduce continuously throughout the year, while some are seasonal breeders which will reproduce in a particular favorable season. So in animals there are continuous breeders and seasonal breeders, so which will reproduce according to the favorable seasons. And the final phase in sexual reproduction, that is organisms, is senescence phase. Senescence phase means the phase which is near to death. Okay. So now we are going to discuss about the stages in sexual reproduction. What are the different events in sexual reproduction? So in sexual reproduction, there are pre-fertilization events, that is before fertilization. There are basically two events. One is gametogenesis and another one is gamete transfer. Fertilization, that is fusion of gametes, fusion of male and female gametes, is called fertilization. Post-fertilization, that is after fertilization, that is the zygote and the development of zygote, that is embryogenesis. That is, the entire sexual reproduction events can be divided into pre-fertilization, fertilization and post-fertilization. In pre-fertilization, there are two basic events. One is gametogenesis, another one is gamete transfer. What is this gametogenesis? So the formation of gametes is called gametogenesis. That is respectively if you take male gametes and female gametes. So gametes are generally haploid. They have only one set of chromosomes. They have one set of chromosomes. And the gametes are haploid and they are unicellular. They have only one cell, unicellular. Okay. So these gametes which are formed in lower organisms like algae, they are called homogametes or isogametes. So homo or isogametes means which look similar. So we cannot differentiate between them. So they cannot be categorized externally or morphologically. These are male and female. They look both same. So this is called homo or isogametes. In other organisms, the two gametes are morphologically and physiologically different, like heterogametes, like male gamete and female gamete, which can be differentiated externally. So these are isogametes of an algae, that is cladophora. So ficus, which is a brown algae, where you can see a large female gamete. This is female gamete which is very large in size. Whereas this is male gamete, which is anthrozoid, which is very small, which can be motile. And here you can see heterogametes in human beings. That is, this is female gamete, which is very large, which is called egg or ovum. And this is male gamete, which is called the sperm, which can be motile, which is motile. And it is smaller than the female gamete. Okay. So when it comes to sexuality in organisms, that is, in some organisms, both the sexes are present in the same. So they are called monoecious, or in fungi it is called homothallic. Like in plants, if you take cucurbits, coconut, both male and female are present in the same plant. Leech is bisexual, hermaphrodite. It is called, in animals, it is called hermaphrodite. Earthworm, sponge, tapeworm, these all are hermaphrodites, that is bisexual. Both male and female are present in the same organism. So they are called monoecious or homothallic, bisexual, or when it comes to specifically animals, it is called hermaphrodite. In others, they are present in two individuals. The male is one individual, female individual. It is called dioecious or heterothallic or unisexual. Like in plants, if you take papaya, date palm, these two are dioecious. In animals, cockroach is unisexual. So here, based on the sexuality of organisms, there are bisexual and unisexual. So bisexual, homothallic or monoecious, it is both male and female are present in one individual. Unisexual, heterothallic, dioecious, the male and female are present in two individuals. So here when it comes to plants, like if you take in plants, there are bisexual flowers where both male and female are present in a single flower. At the same time, there are some plants, like for example, if you take coconut, there are male and female flowers. Male flowers are called staminate flowers. Female flowers are called pistillate flowers. So male and female flowers, which are male are called staminate and female are called pistillate. Okay. So during formation of gametes, so here there is a type of cell division is seen. Okay. For example, if you take haploid species like Monero, in some species of Monero, fungi, algae and bryophytes, where the plant body itself is haploid. When the plant body itself is haploid, in such type of organisms, we can see the cell division, that is mitosis, during the gamete formation. But when it comes to diploid parents, like gymnosperms, angiosperms and higher animals, where the cell division meiosis takes place during the formation of gametes. And the cells in which meiosis takes place, it is called meiocyte, which in terms of sexuality it is called gamete mother cell. So which undergo meiosis so that each gametes get only one set of chromosomes. So whether gametes formed by mitosis in haploid parents or meiosis in diploid parents, the gametes are haploid and unicellular. So they have only one set of chromosomes. So they have only one set of chromosomes. Haploid means they have only one set of chromosomes. So here if you see the pictures of sexuality of organisms, this is earthworm, which is an hermaphrodite, where both male and female are present in the same individual. When it comes to cockroach, there is a male cockroach and female cockroach, which is unisexual. Okay. This is Cara, an algae, so which is monoecious. The female sex organ is called oogoning and the male sex organ is called anther. Okay. This is a bryophyte marcantium. So this is a bryophyte called marcantium, which is dioecious. There is female thallus and male thallus. Female thallus, the female reproductive part is called archegoniophore and male reproductive part is called anthodiophore. And when it comes to the bisexual flower, like if we take sweet potato, it is a bisexual flower. So where both male and female parts are present. The male part is called stamen and the female part is called corpel. Both are present in one flower. That is, in example like sweet potato, if we take, it is a bisexual flower. The male and female are present in the same flower. Okay. So here when you take the organism chromosome number, so when it comes to organism chromosome number, so there is terms like diploid and haploid. That is, when you take a meiocyte, in which meiosis takes place, it is diploid. It has two sets of chromosomes. When you take gametes, they are haploid. They have only one set of chromosomes, which is represented by N. N is a. In human beings, there are 46 chromosomes in a meiocyte. In gamete, there are 23 chromosomes. Housefly. In meiocyte, there are 12 chromosomes. In gamete, there will be only one set, that is 6. Rat. In gametes, it is 21, that is N is 21. That means 2N will be 42. Dog. 2N is 78. In gametes, it will be half. So in gametes, it will be half here. That is 39. Okay. And when you come to cat, it is 19 here. So in meiocyte, it will be 38. Fruit fly, 8. In gamete, they will have only 4. Ophioglossum, which is a fern, which is a plant, it's diploid. It is in meiocyte, it will be 12, 16, gamete, it will be 6, 30. Apple, 34. So 34 means it will have, that is 17 in gametes. Rice, its diploid number is 24. Its gametes will have 12. Okay. Like maize, its diploid number is 20 and its gametes will have only 10. Potato, that is, potato will have 48, its haploid number is 24. Butterfly, 380 diploid number and its haploid number is, its haploid number comes, okay, that is, its haploid number, it will be 190. Onion, 16. Onion haploid number 16 means its chromosome number, that is diploid chromosome number, is 30. So like this, you can write the haploid and diploid number. If any one number is known, you can write an haploid diploid by calculating the chromosome numbers. Okay, by calculating the chromosome number. So till now we discussed about the gamete formation, that is gametogenesis. Okay, now gametes are formed. How they are transferred from male to female. In order to take fusion of gamete, there should be a transfer of gametes. That is, in most of the organisms, the gametes are motile. Like if you take male gametes, or specifically they are motile, they can move, while female gametes are non-motile. That means male gamete has to reach female gamete through a medium for its movement. Okay. So here what happens is, in some organisms, like they do not make it to female gamete. Hence, what happens is several thousands of male gametes are wasted. Like, for example, if we take in few algae, bryophytes and pteridophytes, water is the medium where the male gametes are released into water. Okay. So where there is a lot of loss of male gametes here, where in the process of reaching female gamete, they may reach or they may not be able to reach. But as the evolution proceeds to conserve the male gametes loss, that is like, for example, if you take angiosperms, there are pollen grains which will carry male gametes that is towards the female gamete. So here in plants, the pollen grains are produced in anther and need to be transferred to stigma. Initially they will fall on the stigma. Okay. And this process, the transfer of pollen grains from anther to stigma, which is called pollination, it is very easy in monoecious plants, that is bisexual, where both anther and stigma are present in close. But whereas in dioecious plants, it is a little bit difficult task. The pollination is not that much easy as in monoecious plants. Okay. So by different means of different medium, like in algae, bryophytes, and pteridophytes, water is the medium. In plants, like if you take in plants, the by pollination, by through air, wind, water, by through different animals, the pollen grains will reach to the female gamete. Ultimately, the male gamete reaches to the female gamete. So where we can see the fusion of gametes. The fusion of gametes is called fertilization. So the fusion of gametes is called fertilization, which leads to formation of zygote. And this zygote will develop into new individual by embryogenesis. So this important event in sexual reproduction is fertilization, where the fusion of male and female gametes takes place. It is called syngamy. Okay. So here, in some organisms, so the female gametes which are not fertilized, that is, which have not gone for fertilization, which are not fertilized, without fertilization they develop into new organisms. This process is called parthenogenesis. So which is seen in rotifers, honeybees, lizards and turkey birds. So which is called parthenogenesis, where unfertilized female gametes will develop into the young ones. So this process is called parthenogenesis. So which is seen in rotifers, honeybees and some lizards and turkey birds. And in fertilization, based on the place of fertilization, whether it takes place inside or outside. So in most aquatic organisms, fertilization takes place outside their body. It is called external fertilization. Okay. So their eggs and offsprings are highly vulnerable to predators. So where fertilization takes place outside, the eggs which are exposed outside and egg offsprings which are exposed outside, they are exposed to predators. So there is a threat to the offspring source. Whereas in most terrestrial organisms, the fertilization is internal. So it takes place inside the female body. That is, the male gamete which is motile reaches the female gamete to fuse, thereby forming zygote. So here male gametes are produced in large numbers, whereas female gamete is produced in just one or more, that's all. But whereas male gametes are produced in large quantities. Okay. So till now we discussed about the most important event of sexual reproduction is the fertilization, where the fusion of male and female gamete will take place. Follow SPSVERSITY on social media. Now we are going to discuss about post-fertilization changes. So after fertilization, what are the changes we can observe? After fertilization, zygote is formed. So after fertilization, zygote is formed. Okay. So the gametes will fuse and form a diploid zygote in all organisms. Zygote is diploid, which has two sets of chromosomes, one set from male gamete, one set from female gamete. In external fertilization, zygote is formed in external medium. In internal fertilization, the zygote is formed inside the female. So in internal fertilization, the zygote is formed inside the female. So the development of zygote depends on the life cycle of an organism. So why we are discussing about life cycle? In haplontic life cycle of organisms, like haplontic life cycle means, the best example for this is Spirogyra green algae, where zygote divides by meiosis to form haploid spores. Here, the meiosis takes place in zygote instead of in gamete formation takes place in zygote. So in Spirogyra, the plant body itself is haploid. So the plant body itself is haploid. So here gametes are formed by mitosis, and in zygote we can see meiosis which takes place. So whatever the plants are formed, there is haploid individuals. In some organism, that is zygote doesn't divide immediately. It will develop a thick wall around it. It is called zygospore, which is resistant to damage and desiccation, that is water deficiency. Okay. So here, the zygote which is formed either by external medium or internal medium, it has to undergo the process of development. That is, zygote will form embryo. It will form embryo. Okay. So to form embryo, the zygote will undergo cell division. That is, it will undergo mitosis. And after mitosis, it undergoes differentiation, where each cell is given a particular function. So by mitosis, the cell number will increase. And cell differentiation will help the cells to form specialized tissues and organs. Okay. So here, whatever the young ones are formed, like for example, if you take animals, in some animals, young ones are laid in the form of egg. That is with the help of, that is in the form of eggs, which is covered by calcium cell, that is calcareous cell. Where the egg is protected by this calcareous cell, which is specifically seen in birds and reptiles. Where the young ones are laid in the form of young with egg, that is called oviparous animals. Viviparous, where the development of zygote takes place inside the female body, where the young one is it is given rise in the form of individual, like mammals, including humans. Where directly young one is released into the environment, which is called viviparous. And here when it comes to plants, so in plants, after fertilization, whatever the parts present in the flower like sepals, petals, stamens, these all are dropped off, only it is left out with ovary. So it is left out with ovary. Only ovary is left out. Ovary develops into fruit. And inside ovary there are many ovules. These ovules will develop into seed. So the fruit wall is called pericarp. The fruit wall is called pericarp. Inside the fruit there are seeds. So the seeds are protected by pericarp, like that is the fruit wall. So it is a fruit wall. So here you can see in the picture the bean, the fruit of bean. So these are seeds which are developed from ovule. This is pericarp. Like you can see different fruits where inside seeds are present, which is protected by pericarp. Okay. So here there is different arrangement of these ovules. So the arrangement of ovules in different patterns in plants, which is called as placentation. So in plants, when it comes to plants, in post-fertilization changes. So the ovary develops into fruit and ovule develops into seed. Where even in plants without fertilization, fruits are formed in some plants which is called parthenocarpy, which is generally seen in banana, that is parthenocarpy, where fruits are formed without fertilization. Like in animals, parthenogenesis, where individuals are formed without fertilization. So in plants, when you come to specifically, like in angiosperms, the fruits are formed in which inside the fruits there are seeds. But when it comes to gymnosperms, only ovule is present, naked ovule is present, there is no fruit, that is, there is no ovary. So ovules will develop into seed, that is naked seeds, there is no pericarp. It is seen in higher plants like gymnosperms and angiosperms, where in gymnosperms naked ovules are present which will develop into, that is, naked seeds. Whereas in angiosperms, the ovary develops into fruit and ovule develops into seed. And inside the fruit, that is fruit wall, that is pericarp, where seeds are protected well. So here you can see different arrangements of the seeds. Like this is called marginal placentation. This is parietal. Like this, you can see different arrangement of seeds inside the pericarp. So like this, when you come to the changes in plants after fertilization, that is post-fertilization events. Once fertilization is over, all the parts will drop off, that is sepals, petals, stamens, style, stigma will drop off. Only it is left out in ovary. Ovary develops into fruit and ovule develops into seed. So this is how you can see the fertilization, the reproduction process in plants as well as in animals. Follow us on SPSVERSITY social media. Thank you all. We'll meet in the next session.